Joining me right now, Kevin McCarthy, Republican leader in the House. He's been everywhere because just last week they announced the Republican plan, the Commitment to America. And I wanted to talk with you about that and also the midterm battle coming up. But to kick off, parents' number one pressing concern. And I received, as soon as people found out you were going to be on the show, listeners from all across the country were saying, can you ask him what the commitment is about parents trying to protect their kids in schools? Is that something that's addressed in this? Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you. This is my inaugural time on your show, and I'm very excited about being able to be on there. You know what? We have 4 pillars, and about the parents and the kids' education, that is the key cornerstone of a future that's built on freedom. We actually have a parents' bill of rights. The parents do have a right in their kids' education. They do have a right in the say. We also go in there and we do a tax credit because we think parental choice. Parents should have a say where the kids go to school and they'll get the scholarships. We also go in there to say that we believe only women should compete in women's sports, what we're finding. We're very clear across. So in the Parents' Bill of Rights, it's not where you have to go to some website to see what's happening in your kids' education. No, they have to send you the curriculum so you know. If something happens on campus, we watched that father going to a school board meeting being tackled by the police because his daughter was raped at school. He told the school board, they did nothing. If anything happens in the school, you get notified. They don't just ship a student somewhere else and you don't get told of this process. This is a key component of where we're going. And then we have another element that I think parents would care a great deal about. It's about making government accountable. Why did the DOJ go after parents and call them terrorists when they went to school board meetings? So we're going to have Comer, and then if we have the majority, we got Jim Jordan in chair of judiciary. This is one of our oversights that we're going after.
Yes, yeah, we're talking with Congressman Kevin McCarthy from his beautiful district in California, 23rd District. I don't know sometimes about Los Angeles and some of these other areas, but we appreciate your time with us today. That commitment to America, a lot of people are saying that is it modeled after what we saw in the 90s that brought Republicans that significant control in Congress?
Well, it isn't a matter of the contract with America, because what we believe is you should have a contrast. You should actually know the voters. What would you do if you were given the rights to have a majority? So we spent for the last year and a half, the entire conference, going around listening. Then we came up with solutions. We start with a strong economy. What the Democrats have done, this runaway spending, created inflation. We curve that spending. Then we make us energy independent to lower the gas price, also dealing with inflation. We bring the supply chain back from China into America. The supply chain is worse today than when President Biden took over. Then we go in a nation that is safe. First thing, secure the border. Stop killing our children every day with this fentanyl coming from China. You know what? The other thing, this defunding of the police has got to stop. We supply a lot of grants, 200,000 more police officers, but you've got these woke prosecutors. We're going to put a score to every single prosecutor. And do they make the grade of upholding the law? If not, they're going to have a challenge with their federal money for the prosecutor.
Very interesting.
Then we look at making sure a national defense. And part of that prosecutor one is based upon Ronald Reagan when he wanted to raise the age of drinking from 18 to 21. Everybody get transportation money as long as their drinking age was 21. What if you said to every prosecutor that goes out to get these federal grants, you can get your federal grant, but did you meet the grade and uphold the law in your county? Are you picking and choosing?
There's going to be a lot of prosecutors who are going to fail that test, I think, Congressman. A lot of them.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you mentioned inflation. If GOP, which it looks like all projections, just looking at some polling, looks like you're going to have control after midterm elections. Are you planning on repealing the inflation tax bill? I can't call it the Inflation Reduction Act because, as you know, it does not do that. Is that a top priority to repeal that?
I will tell you on the very first day, you know what our first bill is going to be? Repealing the 87,000 IRS agents. Because what your viewers and listeners need to understand, there's only 80,000 IRS agents now. They make that department more than twice the size. And government should be about working for you, not going after you.
Right.
But that's what they tried to create. So we're going to repeal that from the very beginning. We're going to go after every element that created inflation, their runaway spending. their work to pay people more to stay home instead of go to work. That creates inflation, productivity, supply chain problems. Fundamentally change that. What we're also looking at, energy independent makes America stronger with more jobs, lowers the gasoline price, which affects transportation and every product that we have, but also makes the world safer when America's stronger.
Right. It is a national security issue. Talking with Congressman Kevin McCarthy, Republican leader in the House, and you're talking about energy infrastructure. Out of all the times that I hear, whether it's this administration or someone else, propose infrastructure spending, refineries, expansion of what we have, creating new refineries, bringing stuff. I mean, if they need improvements or whatever, expand the capacity of those existing. That never, because really we have an issue with refineries, and then that problem coupled with this Green New Deal, which I think the Bidens make a lot of money off of, considering what we know from public information already. And then, Congressman, these ESG standards that we have seen manipulating the markets in France and Netherlands. We've seen farmers rioting. They're trying to, as you know, that environmental social governance thing. It's like the China's behavioral credit score, but for businesses with the green grift. Are there, I think that I guess the question is, what protections are you and Republicans looking at? Is that something that is in this commitment to America?
Yes.
Is that a plan? Because we need protections against ESG, this manipulation of the market with energy.
That's exactly part of our plan. You talked about a really serious issue, refineries. So you can produce more oil, but if you don't have the capacity to refine it, you hurt yourself. The pipelines, God has gifted us and blessed us with a lot of natural resources. We are the number one when it comes to natural gas, and that lowers emission. And our natural gas is 41% cleaner than Russian natural gas. But they stopped giving pipelines, so the Marcellus Shale, you can't produce anymore because they have no ability to move it. And a pipeline is environmentally sound and safer than any other way to do it.
Until it's sabotaged, like we saw with
Nord
Stream 2, or Nordstrom, as Karine Jean-Pierre would say. Quick thought on that. I mean, do you have any, what's the discussion on Capitol Hill about Nord Stream 2? And we clearly, with one state, I think with just the state of Colorado, we could step up with some gas and meet all their supply needs in Germany and elsewhere in Europe.
Why wouldn't we be supplying our allies so they would be there spending their money with America, making us stronger? They wouldn't be dependent on Putin, who spends his money killing people. It is backwards. And a lot of sometimes of this environmentally attacks comes from Putin's money, wanting people to stop that. And Putin understood a military makes you strong, but dependency makes you weak. And what did he do? He made all of Europe dependent on him. He wanted to build Nord Stream 2. The only country to stand up was America when we had President Trump. And what did Biden do? Biden went and met with him, lifted all the sanctions for Putin, and Putin got the wrong idea that he could actually go through and get it lifted. So he thought he could invade Ukraine.
No.
It's the total wrong message.
I have a couple of other questions left for you, talking with Representative Kevin McCarthy from the 23rd District out of California. He is the Republican leader in the House, been everywhere on the commitment to America. And this, hit the southern border, repealing the inflation bill. I wanted to ask if it was in the back of your mind when putting this plan together. Some people say it's not aggressive enough. It's not. It seems a little bit more ideological than political. It's not. Some people were saying that you needed to be more aggressive. Republicans should be out there, really getting in the face of Democrats. I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, and tell me if I'm wrong here, or if this is where your headspace was, I kind of got the impression that you sort of excluded Democrats from the table, and that this was more about offering solutions. People just want some normalcy, especially now after Hurricane Ian. They just want some solutions. They'll club people over the head after they can pay their rent.
Yeah. What they really want is, they can't afford their life that's happening now. They want something that works. And we were looking at solutions. This is a plan for a new direction. They know what they've got right now with one-party control. They've lost 1 month of wages of salary. That's what they lost with inflation. They have to give up an entire month was taken from them. Every day they go to the store, it costs more. Gas costs more. The border is insecure. They're afraid to go down their streets. The crime that's happening. Who has a plan to do something different? That's exactly what we laid out. We'll give you an economy that's strong. You can afford to fill up your gas, right? We'll give you a nation that is safe, where a community is safe Law enforcement is respected and criminals will be prosecuted. You want to have a school system that puts children first and lets them dream big, right? And then you want to rein in government where you actually have a check and balance. That is what we're going to bring you. And I know some people are so frustrated because this administration has gone so far in every parts of our life. They've seen the DOJ do things we never thought imaginable. We've watched them go after and make America weaker. I really think we're back to 1979, 1980 again. I mean, if you think of the similarities.
Economy shows that.
Yeah. When was the last time we had inflation like this? When was the last time you had Americans held hostage in the Middle East, in Iran and Afghanistan? When was the last time you had the strongest military in the world, but your commander-in-chief looked weak? You know, when was the last time we had a president that actually put us into an energy crisis and denied America to produce, but asked OPEC to produce more? I mean, look at this, and it goes through all the different. Gavin Newsom, when he became governor of California, he reduced the amount of oil produced in California by 20%. That was 80,000 barrels. But you know what he did? He started buying 50,000 barrels a day from Russia. He was paying Putin with California money instead of creating good California jobs. And if you want to do it in an environmentally sound way, do it in America.
Yeah,
produce the oil.
There you go. Last question for you, Representative McCarthy. Republicans are poised for maybe like the 2010 shellacking that we saw coming off of the initial wave of the Tea Party. There's seems to be some growing consternation because Senator Lindsey Graham has introduced an abortion bill, and I don't think that anyone disagrees with the contents of the bill or his point that he's trying to get out there. But why now? Because it seems as though he's snatching a victory away from Republicans here on the cusp of midterms. You guys got around that. The power's reverted back, is gone back to the states, and now you're having to relitigate in public court. A court of public opinion. Abortion all over again. Does that make it harder? Does that give you a little bit of headwind to go into? How does that work?
I'm not quite sure why Lindsey did what he did at the time. I mean, we were sitting there that day with inflation numbers coming out. You had the market down 1,200 points. You had the president trying to explain how his policies didn't create this when we all know they did. Even Larry Summers and Steve Ratner, Democrats, say it did. I think you need to focus on what the American public care most about. The economy, crime, education for their children, government having a check and balance, getting rid of this fentanyl that's killing our children and poisoning them every day. I mean, I think that's what the Commitment to America does. It is a plan and shows the difference. To me, this is like a 50-year election. This is 1980 all over again. Why was Ronald Reagan so strong? It was his policies and his principles. We set out a plan that has principles and policies to make America stronger. So it's not just to get Republicans to go to the polls, Democrats and independents, those that want to put the country first. That is what it does. It has the country first policies that make us stronger, make us more united, and make our future brighter.
There you go. Thank you, Congressman. Representative Kevin McCarthy. Good to talk with you. We'd love to have you back again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Look forward to coming back.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.